Avs fall 1-0 on the road at Winnipeg. Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar's streaks are snapped. And unfortunately, honestly, a super entertaining game that was 1-0 from the point of 66 seconds into the game throughout the end. It was entertaining. The Avs just couldn't find a way to get past Connor Hellebuck, who was he was as advertised. He's been the best goaltender in the National Hockey League through the first 14 games of the season, bar none. And he was excellent this evening as we welcome you guys to Between the Pipes presented by Safeway. We are live on X, Twitch, on YouTube. Alex Ryanemi alongside Mark Springer back at the NHL Tonight studios in Lone Tree. He was doing the game tonight on the board. Spring, it was a game that you felt like it was eventually going to happen for the Avs, but unfortunately the power play opportunity at the end just came too late.
Do you think, how many power plays do you think the Avs deserved tonight? They got one. They got one late. That was an odd facet of this game, including the fact that it was a 1-0 game, and the first goal, the only goal, was scored just over a minute into it. Felt like there were a couple opportunities at power plays that were not called. Nonetheless, hey, you lost. You got bageled by regular season Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Ain't that a thing, right? And, everyone you're without. I love today, is Cale Makar going to play? Oh, my gosh, I hope Cale plays. Hey, Cale plays. That's great. That brings us back down to the status quo of the bare minimum of, they're still very shorthanded. Even with Cale, they're at what, 70%? So you fought against the best team in the NHL this season, record-wise, in their building. You outshot them. This is one of those games, another one where you can't tell me if the Avs were healthy like Winnipeg was tonight, that they don't get a goal, which therefore means they get a point, and they probably win the damn game. But alas, they lose 1-0, still shorthanded.
Yeah, listen, I thought that to answer your question, I thought they deserved a handful of hooking penalties, certainly in the third period when Winnipeg was very clearly holding on for dear life. I think what illustrates your point, as while they had Cale Makar back and they did have Arturi Lehkonen back, who was the sixth player on the ice at the end of the game? Do you remember when the guy
do. It was TJ Tynan.
TJ Tynan. He had an opportunity to go backhand, forehand, and slip it past Hellebuck. Again, the net front presence from the Winnipeg defensive core has always been pretty darn good. I thought the referees swallowed their whistles for the vast majority of that third period. I didn't think it was warranted. They finally get the call on Josh Morrissey with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go as he holds and hooks Mikko Rantanen down to the ice when the Avs had the extra attacker out. I still think that game is a little bit different if that call is made with 8 minutes left or 6 minutes to go, where you have the full opportunity to go 5-on-4. Even if you don't score on that power play opportunity, you've had that momentum, you had those grade A scoring chances, and then you get to pull the goaltender with about 2 minutes to go, and then you get the extra opportunity rather than having it all condensed in that one spot. I thought they played a good enough game outside of a horrible step from Josh Manson at the beginning of the game. That was it. And everyone bounced back to have a pretty good 60 minutes. Like, Georgiev makes a monster stop on arguably the hottest player in the NHL right now, and Kyle Connor on a breakaway, like 2 minutes after the first goal. Like, Georgie was great.
He probably had the two best saves of the night. This was the best Georgiev start of the year. And on that same tone, if Georgiev is having the two best saves of the night, certainly the one in the third period was the best. That save where he dives into the splits and keeps the puck out beyond the red line as he's bearing his ass is in the net. It's a very nice save from Georgiev. So conversely, it means, while they outshoot Winnipeg tonight, they didn't get that grade A look on Hellebuck.
Yeah.
They didn't get that true. There were a couple bouncers in front. There were a couple centering opportunities, but they didn't truly Whether it's anything top shelf, making Hellebuck glove something or block or something, a stand out of your seat Hellebuck save. We didn't get that tonight. Is that you got, like I said, you got Kale playing, but you're still without so many. Is it that why they weren't able to get those truly dangerous looks on Hellebuck tonight? But hey, look, Alexander Georgiev, is this a real thing that we've been dealing with of late? A backup goaltender competition, Georgiev v. Kakkonen. I think Georgiev did himself some favors in that competition tonight. And I was thinking during this game, like right now, Onninen's the 1 or 1A, however you want to put it. Although Georgiev, like that looked more like good Georgiev that could deserve the 1A role or the 1 role again. But for right now,
without a doubt, that looked like the Georgiev that clearly has a higher ceiling than any other goalie in the organization.
Oh yeah. I mean, Onninen has a very high ceiling, but he's just maybe a little further away from it. Georgiev is in the prime of his career. He's even with his struggles, he's still closer to a higher level just through NHL experience.
Yeah.
But okay, so Onninen's the 1A. If let's say the playoffs started tomorrow. Let's say they started tonight. Did you get playoff flashbacks tonight because it's Georgiev at Hellebuck in Winnipeg? I mean, it felt like the play was a much different than the game 1. It was a much different result. There were 1 million goals scored on Georgiev in that one in the playoffs. But let's say that this was game 1 of the playoffs tonight. Let's say Onninen started and he got hurt. Like, in my heart of hearts, I think you need Georgiev as the next guy. I would trust him far more, given his amount of experience, his wealth of experience, still being in the prime of his career, than Kaapo Kakkonen. Like, I would just feel like, just on a base level, I'd feel more comfortable with Georgiev than Kakkonen.
I find myself agreeing with you, and that's the way that they went into this season, right? Georgiev and Onninen were your 2 netminders, and whether or not it was going to pan out that Georgie was going to be your full number 1, as he has been the last 2 full seasons, the money works out the same. So it's not like Georgiev, if tonight is the start of him rebounding, it's not like that realization would have caught the Avalanche by surprise in terms of cap management. Like, they have planned for Georgiev and Onninen to be, again, hopefully a 1A and a 1B, regardless of who's going to get there. He played great tonight. He gave you an opportunity to win. If you look at, again, I go through Money Puck all the time. I think they're a little deserve to win a meter ranking in terms of expected goals in all situations. Like the Avs should have won this game damn near 7 out of 10 times. The expected goals were 3.5 to 3 compared to Winnipeg. So he keeps Winnipeg nearly 2 goals shy of what they were expected to be scored on. That's the first time that he's done this all season long. Colorado, however, on the other hand, runs into arguably the best goaltender in the world, who keeps a 3.5 expected goal advantage for the Avalanche, despite only having 71 seconds or 70 seconds of power play time tonight to 0. And sometimes you get goalied. I can't walk away from this game and be upset, because listen, it was an underhand team playing against a red hot club in their own barn, and you had a shot. Like, you just didn't get it done. I think you hit it on the head. Where were the grade A opportunities? And there weren't many, right? Like, there were 2 heavy odd man rushes at the beginning of this game, one of which goes to Gabe Vilardi, and he buries it in the back of the net 66 seconds in. The other one comes on a breakaway, short side breakaway opportunity from Kyle Connor, and Georgiev shuts the door. The only real grade A opportunity in terms of like line rushes came with Logan O'Connor, and I can't remember who the second player was with him, but like, it ended up being like a short side shot that Hellebuck was able to turn off to the corner. You didn't have many of those things. The only ones that you did have, you got hand buckled, you got hooked, you got held in front of the net, and you couldn't score it.
Let's say you're a Winnipeg Jets fan tonight. And what is Winnipeg's record now, Raj? I mean, obviously, they were like 12-1-0. Are they 13-1-0 now?
13-1-0.
13-1-0. Okay, I mean that's an A+ on paper.
I think they're only the second team in NHL history to start the season off 13-1-0. The last team to do that was 2007, 2008 when Danny Heatley scored 50 goals for the Ottawa Senators.
It's a hell of a start. I mean, you cannot take 13-1 away. But if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan and you're smart and you know your shit and you still have the feeling of the playoffs in your mind, great, hey, 13-1 start, but what were we just coming off of? A 5-game loss to Colorado. And you watch that game tonight from a Winnipeg perspective, from the best team in the league record-wise, from their perspective, and you win 1-0 on your home ice, and you know who's out for Colorado. Okay, Winnipeg's the best team in the league at 13-1. And again, I'm not taking it away, but and the Avs are what now? 6-8? 6-8?
6-0.
Which team is the better team? Like, let's be completely honest with ourselves. And even if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan,
fully healthy. As ice tonight or fully
healthy? Fully healthy. And based on what you saw tonight too, they get outshot at home. Regular season Hellebuck helps them out. If we could still take calls from Winnipeg Dave, he'd know the answer. I mean, that's a win. That's a win tonight for Winnipeg. But when you consider so many factors, I mean, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm still thinking, I don't want to see Colorado. Like, somebody else, please knock them out, because if those dudes who are out were in, even at 13-1, I didn't see a Winnipeg team that inspires fear in me.
And I don't even know if that, honestly, they're super similar to that 2007, 2008 Senators squad that went 13-1 to start the season. Again, just two teams in NHL history, the 07-08 Senators and this year's Winnipeg Jets, have started off 13-1 and 0. That team was damn good. Like, don't get me wrong, it was really freaking good. Jason Spezza, Danny Alfredson, Danny Heatley, Antoine Vermette, Mike Fisher, Wade Redden was playing at the height of his abilities back then. There was a super young Nick Foligno who came in and played half a season for that team, and they split time between Martin Gerber, who ended up having like a 2.7 goals against average and a 9.10 save percentage, and Ray Emery back when he was 25. That team was scary, but it never felt like they were truly going to make waves in the Eastern Conference. You always felt like that Ottawa club was missing something. You didn't necessarily know what it was because you had multiple Hall of Famers. And you had a guy in Danny Heatley who a season before potted 50 goals for you, but you just couldn't find a way to get it done. And I'm trying to look up the 07-08 Stanley Cup playoff bracket. In the Eastern Conference, you had Montreal, Pittsburgh, and Washington running the show at the top of the season. And that was the first out of 2 straight years that Pittsburgh and Detroit went to the Cup final. You think back to that Ottawa team, they're an afterthought when it comes to the rest of those Eastern Conference clubs, right? Like, when you think back to the late 20-aughts, it's the Crosby and Ovechkin show. You never thought about Ottawa. And the same thing is happening right now in the Western Conference. All of those players are good, Spring. Hellebuck is a future Hall of Famer. Mark Scheifele is a perennial all-star. Kyle Connor might be one of the best 5 American-born players in the last 20 years to play the sport if he continues to stay healthy. Josh Morrissey is a guy who was worthy of a Norris Trophy a couple of seasons ago. But when it's all said and done, what's the story of the early 20s been in the Western Conference? Hasn't been Winnipeg. It's been Cale Makar. It's been Nathan McKinnon. It's been Jack Eichel. It's been the Vegas Golden Knights.
McDavid just made a final.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah. So, hey, great start to the season for Winnipeg. I'm not trying to entirely take it away, maybe just a little bit. All right, here's a question for you, Raj. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you rather lose 1-0 tonight, but Alexander Georgiev is starting and he only allows one goal? Or would you rather have lost 8-7 and Georgiev gave up 8?
Oh, I'd rather lose the 1-0 game any day of the week. I would, or would I rather have taken the win 8-7 rather than a 1-0
No.
loss?
You lose. You lose 8-7.
Well, I think that's crazy because, like, if you lose 8-7, then like the Avs have done the thing that we know they can do. They can score. They can score goals. We know that even with how injured they are. The one thing that we don't know that for certain that they can do is keep the puck out of their own net, whether it's their own defensive inefficiencies or the goaltending. If the question is the Avs go into Winnipeg and they win 8-7 or they lose 1-0, honestly, right now, if Georgiev's the starter in both games, I think I take the loss this early. I think I take the loss.
Yeah, we know that the Avs can score. We know they can, especially when healthier. Again, look, I thought like a Parker Kelly had a good little game tonight. Chris Wagner's trying hard. I will say
he's a step slow, man. There's a difference between NHL and AHL players, and I saw that tonight. Like Chris Wagner just doesn't have the get up.
I saw some chemistry tonight, burgeoning between Nikolai Kovalenko and Ivan.
Yes.
And that they should be on your fourth line. And this game was on 9 News tonight, so I'm watching on 9 News, and there was a moment, I think it was in the third period, where a good shift from Ivan and Kovalenko, and then they show them on the bench and they're talking, they're looking at the tablet. Those two are communicating about what they saw, and they both shown promise. Ironically enough, or maybe surprisingly enough, I think Ivan has shown a little more than Kovalenko, and Kovalenko was getting a little more hype than Ivan. But nonetheless, those are two young guys who I thought played well tonight, but they are who they are. They should be on your fourth line. That should be a great, young, developing fourth line. It's just, again, I love that Makar played tonight. It gave him far more of a chance, but they're still down a ton of dudes. Like the progress I'm seeing from Ivan and Kovalenko, they should be on the fourth line, not getting second and first line minutes.
Makar played a bunch tonight, 25 minutes and change in terms of time on ice for the two guys that you're mentioning. Kovalenko, 12 and a half minutes. Ivan, 10 and a half minutes. And a lot of the reason that those numbers are so heavily deflated as compared to games past is Bednar rode his horses toward the end of the game because, again, you needed to push to find something. McKinnon plays 24 and a half minutes. Arturi Lehkonen plays 25 minutes. Mikko Rantanen plays 24. Casey Middlestat plays 18. While the rest of the numbers are kind of split throughout the rest of the lineup, it was I'm finding Cale, McKinnon, Rantanen, Lehkonen, Middlestat, and then we're going to find our fifth guy, right? Our fifth forward that we can play heavily throughout the rest of the game. I just thought that was a decision from Bednar to be like, hey, we got to go with our guys who give us the best opportunity to score a goal. It just didn't happen tonight. That's it.
You got a good Alexander. You got a 1-goal Alexander Georgiev start. You got to start tonight where Alexander Georgiev only allowed 1 goal. That's a win. Okay, that's a positive. I thought
the other thing that I said last night, Spring, or last game rather, a couple of evenings ago, when you got goals from Chris Wagner and 2 from Kovalenko, was my golden rule is when you get bonus goals, you must win the hockey game. The only thing that I take away from a negative of this game, today was a bonus game from Alexander Georgiev, and you didn't find a way to get points. Like, how many games are you going to get 26 shots against one goal against the hottest offensive team in the National Hockey League right now in Winnipeg. So that's the only thing that I can walk away from this and go, I'm left wanting more, because for me, it feels like a bonus performance from Georgie.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. For me, though, like, I am so confident that this team gets at least the 8th seed, which is all I need, that, I mean, if they end up missing the playoffs, I mean, you could look back on a game like this absolutely and say, man, like, Georgiev in Winnipeg after, a poor start to the season actually, threw out a performance where he allowed just one goal and you couldn't win it for him. Sure. But I think they make the playoffs. And so in a long-term lens, I feel like Georgiev getting off the schneid in a way tonight, getting a good start, I will argue that that's more valuable than even a point that you could have gotten tonight. Just simply Georgiev getting a good start, because I'm confident they make the playoffs and they won't rue this. And it was a wasted opportunity. It was. In a micro sense, absolutely. It was a wasted opportunity because Georgiev did give you a good performance. But in a macro sense, I think just Georgiev having this start in and of itself was the win.
Yeah, I'm going to take mostly positive out of this. I thought it was an entertaining game. I thought they checked hard. I thought they were very good defensively outside of one bad step from Josh Manson at the beginning of the game that finds its way into the back of your net. It was a playoff game in the early goings of November, and there's a lot of times that you don't see games like that this early in the season. I think they're going to be better than the 8 seed, dude. I think they're going to be a 2 or a 3 in the Central as it stands right now, because of the hole that you're unfortunately having dug for yourself with all these injuries. I'm leaning towards them being the 3 seed in the Central. I think Minnesota tapers off, but I do believe that it's Winnipeg, Dallas, and Colorado at the top of that division. Winnipeg is opening up a massive lead right now. So I think if I were to have to call it right now, unless someone else gets mega hot, and Colorado could do that. When everyone comes back, Colorado could rattle off, 12 of 13, 13 of 15 they could rattle off, and then we're having a different conversation at that point in time. I still think they're a 2 or a 3, and you're going to have to go through, in this scenario, Dallas in round 1 and hope that Winnipeg gets picked off by a 7 or an 8 seed at the end of the season, or you got to go through Winnipeg in round 2.
This was when we talked about this game after our last show. I looked at this game as Eustace probably wasn't going to start. That this would be a look for either Georgiev or Kakkonen. And I kind of viewed this a couple nights ago, as a flush it game. As look, you're still severely undermanned. Makar might not play. He ended up playing. If you get your doors blown off in this one, whatever. Lo and behold, they only lose 1-0. And with a Georgiev start, it could have been that. Would it have surprised anyone tonight? If the Avs lost, I threw out 8-7. This could have been 6-2. A game where Georgiev looks overmatched again. And the Avs, get a couple good for you ones late in the game. Like Winnipeg gets up 4-0. We're just throwing our hat up. Georgiev, get the hell out of here. What are we doing at this point? Like that, I felt like maybe that's how this game tonight could have gone, as I was thinking about it a couple days ago. So this is where I come away with Georgiev just allowing one goal, is being like, okay, I'll take that as a massive positive.
It's funny, when I was watching the Oklahoma City Denver game last night in the NBA, I had the same feeling about Thunder Nuggets. Is no Jamal Murray, no Aaron Gordon, and you're going up against the hottest team in the NBA, Oklahoma City, much like the Avs were going up against the hottest team in the National Hockey League in the Winnipeg Jets. And I walked into watching last night's NBA game going, well, they should get the doors blown off of them, but if they keep it close, I'll be very happy. That's what I was preparing to say on my show today on Altitude was like, listen, they put up a good fight. They found a way to come through. And I had myself thinking the same exact thing during tonight's Avs and Jets game was like, you're undermanned going against a great hockey team on the road. Everything is going against you right now. You should not win this hockey game. And then at the end of the 60 minutes, I'm like, damn, I wish they had gotten a point. And I got to get that out of my head because I've been poisoned from Peyton Watson and Christian Brown and Nikola Jokic's triple-double last night that I was expecting the same damn thing to happen 2 nights in a row, and I shouldn't have been.
Well, I guess, and this actually did, I did in my, I was thinking about a Nuggets Thunder comparison a few minutes ago myself, in the sense of last night the Nuggets got a win that they weren't supposed to get.
Yeah.
But it would have made all the sense in the world if they lost. So, they truly, they did steal one, which you can do when you have Jokic and, and others contribute. And the Avs are still capable of doing that, when you have McKinnon, Makar. But they are 6-8 now, Raj. Of their 6 wins, I wouldn't classify any of them on the level of Denver beating OKC, because OKC was 7-0. They're the reigning 1 seed. That was a true kind of steal it win, not a shock, but a steal it win.
Tonight,
I don't think the Avs have had one of those. This would have been the one. Yeah, this would have been Vegas on opening night. Would have qualified, because I'm talking the level of opponent. They and credit to them. They took care of Seattle twice, and they're tricky, but they're not Winnipeg. They're not Vegas. They took care of Utah, Ottawa. They've taken care of the mid to lower mid. They beat Anaheim. A couple lower mid beat them, like Columbus. But in these absences that they've had in this stretch, the marquee opponents, Boston at home, they haven't been able to steal one like the Nuggets did. Their only chances really are going to be in the coming days, because it is just a matter of time now until Drouin and Nichushkin is back. And then when those two are back, even with Colton out, and we'll see when Wood is back, but even with Colton out, now the excuses go away. I mean, now maybe excuses isn't the right word, but now they will be looked at it in terms of, there's no, we're missing this, we're missing that.
You'll have an opportunity to steal one again. I know it's going to be at home on Saturday night against Carolina, but Carolina is 10-2, and they are a perennial Eastern Conference contender. That's your next game to, can you steal one? And it'll be an interesting test to be like, if McKinnon or Rantanen pots a goal, you can steal that game. That's what you mentioned. Like, if you have Nikola Jokic going off for a triple-double, you can steal a game from Oklahoma City. If Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, who are riding 13-game point streaks respectively to start the season, go pointless in this game in Winnipeg without all of these players, the chances of you stealing a game are damn near nothing. Maybe that changes on Saturday. Let's take a look throughout the NHL scoreboard before we get out of here. Spring Avs lose 1-0 in Winnipeg. We had 12 games this evening. The Stars get a 3-1 victory over the Blackhawks, who were playing on the second leg of a back-to-back tonight. Logan Stankoven scores an empty netter to back up Sam Steele and Tyler Sagan's goals tonight. The Utah Hockey Club double up the Blues 4-2. Nikita Kucherov gets his 11th goal of the season, first guy to get to 11 on the year, but the Flyers come back, and Travis Konechny gets the shootout winner. Did you see tonight what John Tortorella did to his ballyhooed Russian superstar rookie?
He scratched him. He healthy scratched him, right?
Healthy scratched him. He went from being the rookie of the month to a healthy scratch. That's the John Tortorella experience in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's hilarious and not a surprise at all. That's a nice win for Philly. The goaltender, they put out a goaltender, 27-year-old Russian, Ivan Fedotov. I could be butchering that name, but I was looking at his recent starts, and man, terrible. I mean, goal, like consecutive 5 straight of like 4 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals. And then he comes out tonight and he beats Andrei Vasilevsky by only allowing 1 goal. Hey, that's this league sometimes. You never know.
Hurricanes hammer the Penguins 5-1 on just 18 shots at home. 5-1, and none of those were an empty netter. Blake Lizotte gets a goal 5 minutes into the third period to erase the goose egg for Pittsburgh, but Hurricanes roll to 10-2. The Sabres get 2 ugly goals to start this game on Igor Shesterkin, who just signed an 8-year, $11.5 million extension, the highest paid goaltender in National Hockey League history. He was terrible tonight on Broadway, and after those 2 goals, it spiraled out of proportion. Sabres beat the Rangers 6-1 at Madison Square Garden. The Devils get a beautiful pass from Jack Hughes here. 5-3 is the final in New Jersey over the Canadiens. Jack Hughes is starting to heat up, and so are the New Jersey Devils. Panthers triple up the Predators, and Spring, my preseason favorite to win the Central Division, they are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, Nashville has been terrible. And the Avs, when they went to Nashville a few nights ago, I thought they were the better team. Nashville was at home. They've been struggling. They're going to get some wins. They played well enough. They finally rallied one to beat the Avs, but then they've turned around and they've lost a couple in a row here. Lost in Washington last night. They get the doors blown off of them by Florida. Man, Stamkos is getting older. Marchessault isn't a spring chicken. They're good players, but 1, they're getting older, and 2, they need to develop chemistry, and it has not happened yet. And it's a little bit of a surprise, but it's not shocking. On the other side, though, Florida remains the best team in the NHL. Yep. They do. And look, the Rangers are very good, but Buffalo's a little up and coming, but there's a stinker from the Rangers tonight. Florida just continues to be solid all season. My pick last year was Panthers-Avs. I'll go with Panthers-Avs again. Florida looks great.
Alexander Barkov now has 722 points in 743 games. He's got the most points among all Finnish-born players since he made his NHL debut back in 2013-2014. Obviously, that's not factoring in Mikko Rantanen, who came into the league a handful of years after Sasha Barkov did, but a 3-assist night from Barkov. You do get another goal from Alexander Ovechkin, continues to climb over the past few days. The guy can't stop scoring. He scored last night. I expect him to score again tomorrow. I think he scored in 6 straight goals, or 6 straight games rather. Islanders double up the Senators on the road. 4-2 is your final there. And the Bruins, thanks to Brad Marchand, yet again, Brad Marchand scores overtime goals like it's his job. And I suppose it is as captain of the Boston Bruins, but they win 4-3 at home over the Flames. Let me see. I'm sure there's a little stat here for Marchand. Marchand scores his 21st career overtime goal spring. It's the most in franchise history, the 3rd most among all players who are active right now. Ovechkin has 26, Crosby has 22, Marchand now has 21 overtime winners.
Yeah, I was watching the end of that game, 10 seconds left in overtime, and the young Flames goalie who's got some promise, Dustin Wolf, covers a puck, offensive zone faceoff. Win it, put a shot on net, get a rebound, Marchand swipes it in. It's not sexy. It's just win the offensive zone faceoff, fire that thing on net. Avs actually kind of had a little bit of with 3.5 seconds to go, but they couldn't win the faceoff and throw a puck on net.
2 games going on right now. The Wild just got literally seconds ago the second goal in as many games from Zach Bogosian. They have a 2-0 lead on the Sharks with 18 minutes and change to go in the second period, 17 minutes and 15 seconds to go in Los Angeles. The Canucks and Kings are tied at 1. Connor Garland has a goal. It was an own goal scored by LA, but Garland gets the assist. He was the last Vancouver player to touch it. Quentin Byfield, just 2 goals in the season for Quentin Byfield and the LA Kings. If the Kings are going to want to make any noise this year, they need Byfield to get going without a doubt. But that's it for the NHL and for the Avs tonight. 1-0 final from Winnipeg. Spring, thank you for doing double duty and running the show tonight with Berto and Connor. The next time you guys will hear us is going to be on Saturday evening, Ball Arena, Avs, Hurricanes, 6:30 p.m. pregame show, 7 p.m. tip on the weekend as they welcome in Colorado native Jacob Slavin and the Carolina Hurricanes. Spring, it's a chance for them to, as you said, you got to steal some of them. This is finally now their third chance to actually steal a game. You got to do it eventually.
Yeah, I would like to see one steal. And this, just like we saw with the Nuggets over the Thunder, and this is their last chance because the other teams on the homestand, they're not that upper tier like Carolina is. I want to see this Avs team do what the Nuggets did last night, and with enough stars still available, go get a win that they're not supposed to. And on Saturday night, the stars are bright, the lights are bright. Let's go. It's perfect time to do it.
For Mark Springer, I'm Alex Ryanemi. Thank you guys so much for joining us on X, on Twitch, on YouTube. You guys can follow us. I'm at Raj on Radio on X. Spring is Mark A. Mark. We will be back on air tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., starting with Brett Kane. It's going to be snowy as hell, so drive safe in the morning, leave early, or honestly, if you don't have to, don't leave at all. Just chill at home, start your weekend early, and work from the house. Spring, I wish you and I could do that, but that's not exactly going to be the case.
Can we just do this? Can I just stream in to Nate and Andy? No, I actually have to run the board for them. Okay, never mind.
Mike Sanford is doing this. He's zooming in with his setup for me tomorrow. Between 10 and noon. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Coach.
He's doing it from Las Vegas. It's a much.
Okay. At least he's. Wait, is he out there for work?
No, his father, Coach Sanford Sr., is in his 49th and final coaching year between the ranks of the National Football League when he was with the San Diego Chargers down to Division I college football. He's currently coaching high school football, and he is starting his playoff run. The word from Coach Sanford Jr. is he's going to win this game this weekend, but there is an off chance that if the team doesn't win, it's his dad's final game. So he's out there with the family supporting 49, a half a freaking century of coaching. Spring.
That's a lot of coaching. That's insane. A lot of coaching. Yeah, I see where the coach gets it from. That's really cool.
10 years. I couldn't imagine doing that 5 times over. Are you kidding me?
Enjoy the Las Vegas weather. We'll enjoy a November blizzard or something like that.
Chris Bianchi says it's supposed to be the heaviest blizzard over the course of like the snow that we got yesterday and the day before, and everything going through Saturday morning is supposed to be the heaviest snowfall in November since like 1994. And that's basically as old as I am, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I can't remember snow like this in November after a great October. I guess we were due. We were due for this.
Scooby-Doo. Avs are Scooby-Doo for a win at home. They'll take on the Carolina Hurricanes at 7 p.m. Listen to that on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, worldwide in the Altitude Sports Radio app. But for Spring, I'm Raj. Thanks to our friends at Safeway. We'll talk to you guys Saturday night somewhere around 10 p.m. Love you. Avs fall 1-0. We'll see you later.